Hi, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And welcome to Forgotten Cinema from Console to Screen. We're embarking on a 5-part series to break down and discuss movies that are based on video games. Each episode, we'll talk about what we love about the movie, or maybe don't love about it, but as we say on the main show, we always recommend you revisit it. We're not alone on this journey, as we're joined by friend and former colleague Russ Lyman from the weekly Warpipe podcast, who will help us navigate each movie born from the video game world. As he likes to say, bit by bit. If you enjoy the series, we want to hear from you. Forgotten Cinema is on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and of course, YouTube. Drop us a comment, share what you like or don't like about these movies, or just say hello. Let's get into it. So when we last left the podcast, we have done half of the movies on what Screen Rant's worst video game movie tie-ins of all time.
Oh, man.
And now in our last 2 episodes, we complete the
Jeez.
Awesome. How is everybody doing this evening?
Not bad. I'm excited. Right. I'm excited for this one too.
Butler, from what I gathered when I spoke with Butler earlier today, he is also excited.
I'm pumped.
Oh, show it. What is that?
Ooh. I got the Blu-ray that came out like last year. They did the special Blu-ray release with it, and it came packed with some goodies.
Ooh,
I'll pop
like
it open.
What?
You get Bison bucks.
Oh, awesome.
Right. That's right. Yep.
So that was cool. And then I opened mine and I realized I had a pack of the movie cards, like the action cards you would get.
Okay.
So I thought that was kind of neat.
Does it have the expired bubble gum in it?
Yeah, I don't think it came with bubble gum.
Well, that's a shame.
No gum.
That comes great. Did they did a what's that?
The back of the steel. Yeah,
okay.
steel book.
Oh yeah, nice.
It's pretty good. They did a good job on it. I actually ended up picking this up at the archive in Bridgeport.
Very good.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Little shout out there. All right. So obviously we are doing Street Fighter. So let's get into the facts and then we can talk all about this film. I'll try not to get too deep into the weeds with the cast because it is a lot. So I'll try to do who we know. But all right. So Street Fighter has a runtime of 102 minutes. It's rated PG-13. Production budget of $35 million. It's a Christmas film. Came out on December 23rd, 1994. Big Christmas release. Opening weekend, it did $6.9 million. Its domestic take was 33. Its international take was 66 for a worldwide total of $99 million. And according to Capcom, in 2024, it makes tens of millions of yen every year. Capcom, obviously being a Japanese company, so we could believe what you want there, but it did. I guess it's still making them money. So I don't know if the sequel is making them money or the reboot or whatever that was, but this one is. So Capcom Entertainment is the production company. It's the main production company. They had final say for a lot of the what got onto the film and casting and whatnot. You also had Universal Pictures and Edward R. Pressman Productions, and then it was distributed by Universal Pictures. So it came out on the 23rd. If you listen to the main show, you know that or if you just are familiar with the holiday season, Christmas time is rife with releases, limited and wide. So this is going to run the gamut of what it went up against. Hopefully, it's a little misleading because like for instance, the week that I'll start off with the week that it came out. I'll do it backwards a little bit here. So the week it came out the 23rd, it went up against a wide release of Nell. But it also went up against, and these are limited releases of Legends of the Fall, Nobody's Fool, and Death and the Maiden, which are 3 big Oscar contenders. But the thing you have to remember is in a limited release, we're talking Legends of the Fall is in 6 theaters, Nobody's Fool is in 6 theaters, and Death and the Maiden is only in 6 theaters. So it's not really its competition. You're looking at maybe the coast is where these movies are coming out. They obviously come out wider as just January comes into play here, and they start doing their Oscar campaigns. So in reality, it really went up against Nell.
Nell.
Chickapay, the Jodie Foster film. The week prior, you had the 16th, which was that Friday. It had a wide release of Dumb and Dumber, the first one. So obviously that was a huge hit. Speechless, the Michael Keaton film, where he is, I believe it's with Gina Davis, where they are dueling speechwriters for presidential candidates, and they fall in love, or their former husband or wife or something like that. You had a wide release in between. So on the 21st, which is the Wednesday before this film came out, you had a wide release of Richie Rich, which was with Macaulay Culkin, and you had Mixed Nuts, which is one of Adam Sandler's early films. Steve Martin is in that as well. It's actually a Steve Martin vehicle. Christmas, the 25th, 2 days after this film came out, you had a wide release of The Jungle Book, Little Women, IQ, and Ready to Wear. And then the 30th, which is the next Friday, you had a limited release of The Madness of King George and Bulletproof Heart. I always ask Butler if he remembers any of these films. I'm sure, Russ, you remember Legends of the Fall. I assume you do. But do any of these movies ring a bell to you, or did you see them? I think you were working. Were you working at the time yet at the theater in '94?
I want to say no. I don't think I was there in '94.
Okay. Do any of these movies ring a bell? I mean, Dumb and Dumber, I would assume you know that.
Right. Dumb and Dumber. Not so much the other ones. No.
Yeah. The other ones are, I seen IQ. IQ is with Meg Ryan and Tim Robbins. And like, she is the niece, right? Or the daughter of Albert Einstein, or the niece of Albert Einstein. Like, that's the whole thing there. Okay. Yeah. And the whole thing is that Einstein is played by Walter Matthau. And he tries to get his Meg Ryan to fall in love with Tim Robbins, but Tim Robbins is not smart, so he tries to help him be smart, so that it's a romantic comedy.
It's like it's kind of Cyrano de Bergerac-y.
Yeah. So this film is written and directed by Stephen E. D'Souza, who's mainly a writer. I think this is his only directing credit. Correct, Mike? Do you think he hasn't done anything? I don't think he did anything after this.
I think he had a couple of things before this, but they weren't that big. Yeah.
So he wrote Die Hard, 48 Hours, Commando. He also did Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, Cradle of Life, the sequel to the movie that we did a couple weeks ago. One of Butler's favorites.
Great.
He also did the 1995 Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone. Cinematographer was William Fraker, who is actually nominated for 6 Academy Awards, one for War Games, another for 1941, and a couple other movies, obviously. We have another Lara Croft Tomb Raider connection with Graham Revell, our composer. He composed the music for that. Had a ton of editors. I'm just gonna reach in the names because I'm not gonna. It's like this movie had 5 editors. Exactly. Edward Abrams, Don Aaron, Dove Honig, Anthony Redman, and Robert Shagru. Honig is nominated for The Fugitive. Shagru did Star Trek III Butler, The Search for Spock. Edward Abrams was nominated for Oscar for Blue Thunder, and he did The Sugar Land Express, which is a movie we did on our main podcast.
Yep.
And then produced by Edward R. Pressman and Kenzie Sugimoto, which I assume who is the founder of Capcom, so that's why his name's up there. And then Pressman has done American Psycho and Wall Street. Jean-Claude Van Damme is our big name here. He obviously got $8 million of that 30-film $5 million budget and we'll get to his hardships on set. He plays Colonel Guile. He's in Time Cop, Hard Target, Sudden Death. Raul Julia as Bison, or M. Bison, presumed innocent, Kiss of the Spider Woman, which he wasn't nominated for that. And he's obviously Gomez Addams in the 2 Addams Family movies. Ming-Na Wen as Chun-Li. She is, this is one of her first films. She's the voice in the 1998 Mulan. She's also in the TV show ER. And I'm sure you guys both know the TV show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Damien Chapa as Ken. He's really just blood in, blood out. He wrote, directed, and starred in a movie called Brando Unauthorized, where he played Marlon Brando. Byron Mann as, how you say his name? Ryu? Because I guess they said it wrong in the movie.
Ryu is how you're supposed to say it, but apparently
Ryu, right?
He behind the scenes he couldn't say Ryu, so the director or someone to just say screw it, just say Ryu.
So he is in Catwoman, The Big Short, and Skyscraper. Kylie Minogue as Cammy, which Butler and I were talking about earlier. We're like, I saw the name of the credits and we were like, oh, she's in this? Oh, which part? And then it was pretty easy to figure that out. She's in Biodome.
Is she in Biodome?
That's what the note says.
It's been so long since I've seen it, so right. I'll have to take their word for it because I'm not going back to Biodome to figure that
out. Andrew Brynjarski as Zangief from Hudson Hawk Butler. He's also in the program and Any Given Sunday.
I knew he looked familiar. All right.
Yeah. Russ, I was joking with Mike today that he played Zangief, and all I could think about was from Wreck-It Ralph. the opening when do you ever see the record?
Yeah. When they're at the round table thing.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike. Do the line.
Zangief, bad guy, but Zangief not bad guy. That's exactly what he plays in this movie.
I know. You had Grant Bush as Balrog from License to Kill and Die Hard. Robert Mamone as Carlos Blanca. Why does Blanca have a first name?
Because Blanca in the games is some monsters from Brazil, but in the games also, you find out that Guile's going after M. Bison because he kills his friend Charlie, or Charlie's missing. And so they went, what if they're the same guy?
So I'm going to name off the rest of the characters. We can get to the actors when we talk about them if we want to.
Okay.
I want you to tell me if these people are actually in the game. I know this is based on Street Fighter 2. So tell me if these guys are in the game. DJ?
Well, it depends on which version.
Oh, give me a break.
Because there's 3 versions that they're pulling from.
That is true.
Captain Sawada, Vega, Victor Saget, and Dalsim. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are those all from the game?
The last 3 are from the original version of Street Fighter 2, and the first 2 names you mentioned are from the Turbo and what was it, Championship Edition or something?
Yeah, I was going to say Championship Turbo Edition.
Okay. All right. So, Russ, let's start with you. Have you always been a big fan of this movie? Or actually, I should take it back. Mm-hmm. How big of a fan are you of the game? And then let me know how big of a fan are you of the movie, or so tell me what your experience, what's your history with the game?
Basically, first time seeing Street Fighter was at a convenience store close to my mom's. Very similar story to with Mortal Kombat as well. They would get the arcade machines. I go up there for candy and then see mostly other kids playing the machine. So I would watch, and if I happen to have some quarters, I give it a go. But once it came to home console, then you're able to play it as much as you want. So I remember going to friends' houses and playing it. But, mainly it's known in the arcade because it's a fighting game. That's where you're going to meet people, show your skills off against other players. And they released different versions of it, like Mike was talking about, where Street Fighter 2 came out, then Street Fighter 2 like Turbo, World Warrior. It was kind of updates giving you more characters to play with. And it was so cool to just go through and see the endings of each character, find out which characters you're good at, and learning the special moves, of course, just kind of jamming on the buttons and everything. So when the movie came out, knowing the game, I was excited. And Jean-Claude Van Damme, right? Big action star. You're like, okay, I guess they cast a non-American guy as the most American player, Guile, this big American. And they're like, we'll get Jean-Claude. But I'm guessing who else I guess they could have cast at that time that had the draw and the high profile as him. I feel like it's similar in vein of the Mortal Kombat movie, where it's bad, but I still enjoy it. Like I said, the Blu-ray came out last year, I want to say, or a year ago or so. So I picked it up and me and my wife watched it. So I made her sit through it. And there's some cool parts to it. I'll give it that. And it does have its fair share of bad parts as well, and script wise and all that stuff, which we'll get into. But I don't know. It just holds a place like one of those early video game movies, and it's a big franchise for sure. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, Street Fighter.
All right, Butler, I guess, give me the same question. Before you answer, I have no history with the game. And I'm obvious you guys are bigger gamers than I am. When I went to arcades, it was either to play the pinball machines or just hang out. I never went a lot. I'd play a bunch of different games. I never was always there, so it wasn't my thing. I obviously was more big into movies, and I did more sports back then as well.
I was gonna say
I was waiting for that sports comment to slip in.
Well, it took up a lot of my time, especially in high school. But
freaking nerds, I was busy playing basketball while you guys were watching this movie.
I still play. Like I told my CEO today, I still play. Let's go. So I wasn't always at the arcade like you guys are, and so I know I would try. I think partly like I would try like the Mortal Kombat game, or if I try the Street Fighter game, and if I couldn't do the moves, I was like, screw this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to just get beat up. But anyways, that's my Mike. What about you?
I played Street Fighter. I'm not as big into it as maybe Russell was. I was more of a Mortal Kombat guy growing up, because that's what my brother was obsessed with. So that's what we played more. I do remember Street Fighter 2 was like one of the first arcade fighting games I played, because it was right outside Mama Rosa's in Milford, where I grew up. So it was the one it was either that or the Simpsons Beat 'em Up arcade.
Okay.
Which I also absolutely love. So me and my brother would play that every time with the Mama Rosa's. My parents were finally like, here it is, when it came out on Sega Genesis. Classic Street Fighter 2. Just play this. I'm sick of spending quarters and waiting for like a half hour while you guys play an arcade game after we eat. So we used to play Street Fighter 2 quite often, to the point where my brother now has the one-up arcade machine in his basement that just came out. I thought you had the same thing. I wasn't sure. So I used to play that a lot, but I wasn't really into like the lore. I didn't think it was as interesting as Mortal Kombat. Like Mortal Kombat, the lore goes deep. Even back then, they really went deep with the lore. Street Fighter was always a little more silly. So when the movie came out, I wasn't as attached to it. I remember seeing it when it came out. Like my dad rented it for me and my brother or something. And then I've maybe seen it one other time, but it's not something I have an attachment to in the same way as I do Mortal Kombat, or we'll talk on our next episode about Doom, like I do with Doom. This is probably one of the lesser, or this is probably a little bit higher than Tomb Raider on the I care about it kind of like I have like an emotional connection to it.
Okay.
But it's not as high as, let's say, Mortal Kombat, because I only had Street Fighter 2. Well, I also had Capcom vs. Marvel, but that's like 8,000 characters, so I don't count that.
I will jump in and say that Street Fighter 2 has some awesome music in it.
It does. It's got amazing music. And it's got the better mini games. Like Mortal Kombat had the brick breaking thing every round. Street Fighter, the best thing is like when the random car drops on a dock and they're just like, beat the crap out of this car for no reason. How many points are you going to get?
Right.
I always loved that. Yeah. And the audience reaction in the game. I love that the audience actually reacts to what you're doing.
In the background. Yeah.
I feel like if I ask this, the answer is going to be that there's more games, but it feels like there's more Street Fighter games than there are Mortal Kombat games. And we kind of went through all the Mortal Kombat games, but it feels like there's a lot more Street Fighter games. Am I off there?
So many variations. I think they're only on Street Fighter, officially only on Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
But if you look at like the variations, there's so many.
Well, it's if you went mainline, right? None of the Capcom versus or whatever, like none of those.
Right.
Like if it's just Street Fighter 2, 3, and all that. I feel like Mortal Kombat has more than
even with like the turbo editions and ultra.
Yeah, just because Mortal Kombat has like the weird adventure based like Sub-Zero mythologies on N64 and like the few that came out on PS2, and then you have like the regular versions fighting game ones. So I feel like it stacks a little bit higher against it. I didn't get the new Street Fighter or the last one, 5 or 6. But 4, I'm trying to think if I got 4. I feel like that's where they kind of brought it back. I could picture it. It's on PS3 and Xbox 360. That's when that one came out.
I think, Russ, I could be wrong. Isn't the newest one, isn't 6, you could buy it, but it's also free to play, but you only get like a couple characters and you can you make it more expensive by adding on as you go? Maybe.
Yeah, it could be. I haven't even looked. I'll look on PlayStation when we sign off, see if I can get it.
All right. Well, let's talk about the movie itself, and just kind of like what we thought about it, our viewing notes. We can get I can toss some facts in there. I think the biggest reason why people remember this film is it's Raul Julia's last film,
right?
And the fact that he's the best thing in it. But that's kind of what I wanted to talk with you guys about is the camp of the film itself, the tongue-in-cheek, it feels like, you know, whether it's intentional or unintentional, depending on who you talk to or who, you know, who talks about the film, who made it. You know, some people's like, oh yeah, of course it's this way. You have to do it that way. At some point in the movie, it felt like when you're watching the movie in the beginning, it's serious, and then at some point, it just like it was like, yeah, this is ridiculous. Let's just have fun. What did you guys think about the tone of the film, and if I'm off base with what I'm saying there?
No, I feel like you're on point with that, where maybe they, in the beginning of the shootings, weren't sure what they wanted, or like we're trying it a certain way. And then with everything coming up, you know, issues with Van Damme and all that, they're probably just like, screw it. Let's just do it this way. It's just easier. Let's get it done.
Butler, what are those issues with Van Damme?
Well, did you know, Mike, that Jean-Claude Van Damme was blowing through, and I use that term on purpose, $10,000 worth of cocaine a week?
He did have a drug problem.
Like a week, $10,000. Boom, boom. This man had only done 2 big films before this. This was his 3rd big film, and he's blowing through $10,000 worth of cocaine a week, along with he's hitting up with Kylie Minogue on the side there, apparently, on the regular behind the scenes. So Jean-Claude Van Damme's having a very good time. So good, in fact, that he can't be bothered to come to set until he is ready. Stuck in his trailer, not coming down through his from his hotel room, not visiting the set, just being a general pain in the ass, while also taking up, you know, 1/4 of this film's budget. It's a pretty epic move by a very epic man.
So a lot of the issues that Butler's talking about that happened with Van Damme caused production delays. D'Souza wanted to push the date, the release date, but Capcom wanted that December 23rd. They wanted it this date. They wanted it to be a Christmas film. So he was forced to actually shoot action scenes and talking scenes and dialogue scenes at the same time. So he would have the stunt coordinator direct the action scenes as they're doing the other scenes. And then we talked about this earlier, Mike and I today. Then he found out that the stunt coordinator wasn't putting the moves that the characters do in the game in the film. Okay. And they had a huge fight on set about it. And he's like, that's the whole point of this movie. Like, why are they, you know, so I don't know if they went back and put him in there.
They did. They went back to they went back for reshoots, right, and rebuilt entire sets so that they could get some moves.
Right.
Jeez.
Yeah. Because they cut scenes out for the sake of time, but then they realized, wait a minute, we need those scenes as well. So they had to go back and reshoot them. So, and I'm not going to, that's not probably all Jean-Claude Van Damme and his behavior, but it's definitely a large part of it.
It seems like it was a 50-50 mix, Jean-Claude Van Damme and Capcom, like shooting themselves in the foot. Like,
well, I mean, Capcom insisted on him as the star. They wanted him.
Right.
So they were okay with paying that $8 million and that
need
kind
for
of
the date.
Yeah, that puts you behind budget. To be fair, you know, you brought the film in on a $35 million budget. You made $100 million, so you made money. You did it. You kind of broke even.
And it's still making money, I guess, like you said.
Supposedly, that's according to them. I know, but my other note I had here was that when it came out, when you combine the box office and home video total, it's $165 million that they've made total. Mm-hmm. So add another 66 million to that 99 million. And then when it came out in 95, or when it came out to rent, it sold $250,000 tapes. So VHS tapes. Yeah. So it was, even if it was camp and it was, you know, tongue in cheek, it still was popular. People were still buying it. Mm-hmm. So Mike, do you think that camp was unintentional or intentional, or what do you think what happened there?
I think some of it was clearly intentional. I mean, even D'Souza says, how can you watch this movie and not think that at least that we didn't think that part of that's in there. Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty intentional. Some of that stuff, it's just so silly. Like, how do you have Ken and Ryu selling, or in this movie, Ryu, selling bazookas that shoot tennis balls at Sagat's head and think that that's not dumb, but on purpose? When Guile drives his tank into the wall of the fighting ring and arrests everybody with his rockets on the side. Like, it's so dumb. It's purposely camp, I think, for quite a bit of it. I just think that it doesn't. The movie's problem isn't the camp. Like I even told you, I thought Zangief was actually probably the best, had some of the best delivery in the movie. And he's a bodybuilder turned act. Like he's not really an actor at that point.
Right.
And he's got the best delivery of anybody. I think that some of that's on purpose. And then some of that's just that the biggest part of this film is that it's a mess. And that it's such a disjointed, like them going from, all right, I'm going to need you to ingratiate yourself with Sagat and Vega to this stupid magician's parlor tent scene with nothing in between to really like make it like blend. Like it didn't make any sense to me. And I feel like some of stuff like that, like maybe not that on purpose, maybe that is disjointed, but so much of it feels like that, where it's just like there was probably 5 pages of script that D'Souza just went, all right, we can't film that because we don't have time. And like him realizing in the editing room, like you said, oh shit, I threw out like 30 pages. I have no idea what this movie is anymore.
Yeah.
This movie clearly, like D'Souza wrote Die Hard. Like he's clearly like, he's not an idiot in terms of like writing good movies. And he's not an idiot in terms of writing camp. Commando is, by all rights, should be a terrible movie, and it's great. And I think part of that's got to be the writing. So it's either his directing skills are just that poor, or a lot of the stuff behind the scenes really ruined this movie.
Yeah, I feel like if we had gotten a director's cut or something a little bit longer, it would have tied maybe a little bit better with scenes going together and some stuff we're supposed to put together in our mind, I guess, or like, oh, if you played the game, you know this and the backstory and why this person's doing this.
You know what I think it needs, Russ? I think it needs that comic book like the Mario Brothers movie had for the sequel, where they had the comic. I think we need D'Souza to be like, this is my script. This is what I originally wrote. Here you go, and put it online and be like, and this is what it should have been.
Yeah.
And then I think you can kind of, I mean, the movie's a movie. Whatever happened. You have to judge the movie as that. But like, at least you can see, okay, the blame's not all on him. You know, $10,000 worth of coke a week and for however many weeks plus Capcom are the reason that the movie did not do well.
Well, Capcom's insistence on putting every single character in the movie, that like they're just in there. They just show up sometimes. I know there was some character that just shows up and he's in the background. You're like, what? And I know that some of the characters' ethnicities changed.
E Honda becoming Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's just for the sake of getting the actor that looks the best like the part. I would imagine. I'm not really sure.
That wouldn't fly today.
Well, you also have to kind of go cheap on the other actors because you're paying your 2 big stars a large chunk of money.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Raul Julia's health, I mean, there's nothing you can really do about that. He came into the production after having surgery for stomach cancer. So he had lost a bunch of weight. And so they were trying to shoot around that. And then unfortunately, 2 months after production, he passed away from a stroke. So that's why the movie is dedicated to him. But you know that you have to kind of work around that as well. So I mean, every production has its share of hiccups, and you know you have to adapt and adjust. So, but this one just had a lot, and that's probably what you know. I would you say that the camp is its saving grace, Butler? That the or Russ is the humor that's in there at some point? I think there's like a fourth wall break as well at one point. Do you think that that's its saving grace, or why maybe it's still, you know, continues to last? Because I don't sense as much hatred outside of here for the film as much as like some of the other movies that we watched on this series. Do you think that's why it's lasted that long? Just that kind of like, yeah, we know it's bad, but you know, hey, have fun.
But I'd say probably a little bit. Honestly, I bet most people don't hate on it as much because it is Raul Julia's last performance. And I mean, he put his all into his kids, you know, wanted to see him in the movie. So he's like, I'm going to do this movie. And every scene that he's in is great. The freaking fantastic line where he's talking to Chung Lee.
Butler says that line to me all the time.
For you, the day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
So
Put
good.
a lot more cheese on that Butler.
That's about. He delivers it with that excellent amount of cheese while sipping a whatever mixed drink he is, and goes,
Yeah.
like.
I never realized. I laugh when he's there in front of the plans for the for whatever the mall, and he's like, the food court should be larger, and then I look above and it's called Bisonopolis. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
I think people are just, this is Street Fighter's only film, and I think that if there were a couple more films that were like The Legend of Chun-Li is out, but yeah, Mortal Kombat, the first Mortal Kombat has some good stuff. It follows the lore. I know you don't like it, Field. The first Mortal Kombat,
first one,
yeah. You have issues with the first one.
Annihilation makes the first one look like Citizen Kane.
Exactly. The second one is garbage. I think this Street Fighter movie is just as bad, if not worse, than Annihilation at sometimes.
Wow.
But because it's people's only film that they have for the franchise, they latch onto it. I also feel like Street Fighter is more in a style. It's more an Eastern style game. It's got anime sensibilities. And I feel like anime fans are used to that kind of, I'm trying to be nice here. Like this irreverence, this everything on the table, like this lack of subtlety. And I feel like they're more apologetic toward that in a film, as a live action film as well. That Western fans would not be. Like a Mortal Kombat film filmed with this same kind of like Annihilation got massacred in the reviews and what people think of it. I mean, it's got a little bit of a following, but nothing compared to the first one. Mm-hmm. I think Street Fighter is just, I mean, the garbage is on the screen, and we know why the garbage is on the screen. And I think maybe there might have been a better film in there, but I don't know if the camp of its saving grace so much as there's nothing better. And I know that they made The Legend of Chun-Li to be the better version to fix what went wrong here. And apparently it's even worse review.
I've never seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. This is like a 51% on Rotten Tomatoes, and Legend of the Chun-Li's got an abysmal 31%, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I think that's kind of funny, but they tried to get Jean-Claude Van Damme back for that one.
Oh, wow.
And things fell through, and he tried to develop his own sequel as well.
He was working on a sequel, and then that's when it reversed back to Universal, or somebody owned it, and then they decided to scrap that because they had him back, and they had a couple other people coming back from the first one.
Yeah,
nice.
And then they scrapped it because it changed hands. They decided to do the reboot. They tried to do the Legend of Chun-Li, and then everything changed.
Gotcha.
I would bet you if the second Mortal Kombat movie does well, because the first one came out during COVID, so it was a day and date HBO release, so it's hard to tell how much that could have made. If the second one, which is theatrical only, does well, I would bet you 20th Century Fox or whoever they may have sold it to now, the rest of Street Fighter would probably be like, hey, coming in 3 years, Street Fighter. And do their reboot.
You're going to have to create a whole backstory on your own here if you want to do that. I don't know. I mean, anything's possible. They'll make anything. So
it's all just content, man. This is the age of content.
This is true. I mean,
we 12-part streamer.
We talked a little bit off camera about the web series that came out on Machinima on YouTube. That's out there now. It's like 2.5 hours all put together. It's called Street Fighter.
What the heck?
Assassin's Fist or something like that. I was going to
say something with a fist, I think.
I think it's Assassin's Fist. I know my Russ saw it. I only saw 2 minutes of it. So I know that's out there.
Yeah, that's it. Assassin's Fist.
It's Assassin's Fist? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm curious, Field. I know you're kind of, with the three of us here, you're kind of running the show. What are your thoughts on the film? Just give me what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Where does this rank in terms of what we've seen so far?
I think it's better than Annihilation. Not by much. I think what hurts Annihilation is the effects. There's no of the special effects. Mm-hmm. I think it's laughable when they're in stealth mode on the boat and they cut to a shot of the video. There's like, what's that? What is that? I'm like, you can see the friggin' wake of the boat. And you like, so, but like, the whole thing when he's turning his buddy into the Incredible Hulk or whatever it was.
Block
friend.
Yeah. That's yes, that's ridiculous. Raul Julia is probably, because he's so good at what he's doing. I think that's one of the movie's saving graces here. There's not much else to point at. There's not much. The action scenes are just stuff makes me laugh because like when they're dressed, I know they can't use the United Nations, but the fact that they're the tough guy and they're dressed like the United Nations, the camo with the blue and it's laughable. And Van Damme is laughable in it. He's just not trying, and his dyed hair is ridiculous. I think there's some stuff in there that I can point to with Annihilation. I know I'm comparing the two. There's just nothing in that movie I like at all. Like it was really upsetting and painful to watch that film.
Right.
Like I was just like, come on. At least with and maybe because I haven't seen Street Fighter in forever.
Right.
So maybe that's part of it too, Mike. But I'll say it's better than that. Not by much. I would never probably go back to this. I'll never go back to The Legend of Chun-Li. So I mean, I can appreciate when Russ is showing us the Blu-ray before and all this stuff.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely loved by the company that made it, that's refreshing to hear that Capcom still loves it and still pushes it out there. So that's nice to hear.
I will say to jump in, I don't know if you guys know, maybe Butler does, but they made a video game based on the movie.
Yep.
Yes.
So it's a fighting game, but they're using motion capture characters that were in the live action movie. So it's like a game based on a movie based on a game. Like,
how was it? Did you play it?
Meta. I've never played it. I want to say was it only on Sega Saturn? I want to say, or maybe it was on PlayStation as well.
Street Fighter the movie, right?
Street Fighter the movie, the game. I guess you got to search. Yeah.
What was the name of that website field that I found with the old school, like streaming ROM games?
Oh man, I don't remember. PlayStation and Sega Saturn. Street Fighter the movie. Yeah, Van Damme's on the cover.
Right. Where they're almost trying to get like that Mortal Kombat feel with how they did the motion capture.
Right. I'm looking at the screenshot too. It looks like Mortal Kombat too, as well.
So super niche. Like, hey, did you like the movie? Well, you could play the game based on the movie.
Did you know that there is a Hong Kong movie based on Street Fighter II, The World Warrior? It's an unauthorized movie, so the names and appearances have changed, but it's called Future Cops. Cops, 1993. It's based on Street Fighter II, The World Warrior, whichever game that is. So if you didn't know that, if you're ever interested in kind of checking that out, and maybe you can pick out the references there.
Okay, seeing some screenshots here. Yeah.
Nice. Another note that I did not know is that the radio DJ that's doing you hear in the background is actually the real life Adrian Cronauer. I don't know if you guys remember Good Morning Vietnam with Robin Williams. Mm-hmm. He plays that character when it's actually the DJ that he's playing is in the background going, "Good morning, Chandelou." Like, so he says, you can hear him. That's him. I was like, geez, that's a weird, like, that's just a weird get. Like, how do you...
Oh yeah, you can stream this thing online.
Future Cop?
Yeah.
Future
The Street Fighter movie game.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, Kylie Minogue is Cammy. Oh, she's got her old school outfit on there.
So Butler, we've lost Butler. He's playing the game. let me get back. All right. I was going to get to some reviews, but I did want to give you this note as well. The original version of the film was handed into the MPAA, and they gave it an R rating.
Okay.
Which obviously they didn't want. They wanted a PG-13. So they cut so much out of it that it got a G rating. So they had to go back and add stuff in there to make it like, I think there's like a curse word at the end that they just have Van Damme say at the end for some reason. So to make it a PG-13 film. It's like, oh my goodness. How do you go from an R to a G?
Jeez.
I don't even think the Ninja Turtles movies are G. I may be the first one, but I think all of them are PG because they squish Shredder and they squish M. Bison and kill him twice. I'm surprised they even kept that as G. He has to CPR himself.
Hey, Russ, did you see the post-credit scene?
I'm trying to remember it though. What the heck was it? Oh, it wasn't. Trying to remember if it was post-credit or it was at the end.
Wasn't post-credit?
Was
And the
Saget?
credits.
Well, explain it to me. Maybe I'll jog my memory on it.
Basically, it's I don't know what Mike. You can fill in what is being said on the computer or what the computer voice is saying because I didn't get all that.
It's slowly rebooting, so it's saying solar power activating, solar power, and it's slowly coming back and goes batteries charging, and then then it comes coming back on. What would you like to do, M. Bison?
And his hand comes up out of the rubble, and that's it. So
no, the computer chooses what program he'd like to run, and he runs world domination. It's an app I often like to run on my Windows 3.2.
The paperclip pops up. I see you're running world domination. Do you need any help?
The
D in world domination shouldn't be capitalized.
So the reviews for this film were not good, of course. Leonard Maltin said even Jean-Claude Van Damme fans couldn't rationalize this bomb. Richard Harrington from the Washington Post, notable only for being the last film made by Raul Julia, an actor far too skilled for the demands of the evil warlord General M. Bison, but far too professional to give anything less than his best. So obviously, a little shout out there. And then Stephen Holden from the New York Times, quote, a dreary, overstuffed hodgepodge of poorly edited martial arts sequences and often unintelligible dialogue. Just to give you an example.
I don't know if it's dreary.
Hold up. Just to give you an example of that dialogue, I have it right here that I wrote down because it was so god awful. When Ken is talking to Ryu or one of them, and he's like, it sucks. Oh, that's right. They're going up the stairs and they see that the people that they were befriended a little bit were being held hostage now. So they turn their backs on them or whatever it was. And like, it sucks. These guys are the good guys like us. It's like, oh my God, guy. That's the, come on. Like, so lines like that, I can definitely see that, like there's that. And then there's a scene when they're in the tent, when they have this big tent revival, like you were talking about with the magic, they cut to the TV and like, they're on the TV and like Chun-Li is like, and Bison, we're going we're going to destroy your guns. Like, why are you broadcasting live? And it's not like, and then you set the truck to go down the hill with the dynamite or whatever on fire. They can still stop it. Like, it's not like it's like immediate. And
they very slowly got out of the tent. Everyone get out. All right.
So there's just stuff like that. When they first meet Chun-Li and Ken goes, what's your superhero or whatever? What can you do? Figure skating? I'm like, oh my God, that's great.
Get it? Because she's a girl.
I was going to say girl, but also because she was Asian. So I think they were going there.
She got those strong legs.
I think Ken was going that way with that joke. So
it is true that she doesn't kick enough in this film. She, like E Honda gets his super slap, and Ryu kind of gets his stupid Hadouken.
It was probably cut.
That's true.
So in the movie, I know that Chun-Li, Ken, Ryu, I guess Guile, they're all kind of in character outfit, right? Look what's in the game.
Yeah, I guess. Well, they're. I think almost all of them are in their alternate outfits.
Okay, really? That's what I was going to ask you.
It's like
are they in?
They're their outfits, but it's not their normal color. It's the color of like, if I was playing with my brother and he chose Chun-Li as well, she would be red instead of her normal blue. Okay. Same with Guile and stuff. Or at least that's what the notes said, and that's true. Because
why would they do that?
Well, for Chun-Li, it makes sense because if M. Bison is dressing her, why wouldn't he dress her in his classic M. Bison red?
Right.
Okay. So it's like, hey, we got this red look and it's in the game. And Capcom was probably like, yeah, now add me 375 more characters, including a Native American played by a white guy.
No, I think that guy was Native American. His last name was Rainwater.
Bullshit.
Greg Rainwater. Is T-Hawk the Native American guy?
Yeah, I guess so.
That's
I don't know who like
Greg Rainwater. That's his name. I assume he's Native American.
He's legit.
So, Butler, you hate this film. Russ, you kind of like it.
I don't hate this film.
You hate this film.
I very much dislike this film. It's not folks level bad.
Well, no one's going to get that if they don't watch the main show.
Sorry, watch our main show and you'll find out folks is the thing to, well, no, folks, and I would say Section 31, because my dad finally watched Section 31 the other day. He turned it off after 25 minutes. And he was texting me, and I had to Mother's Day. I talked to him, and I was like, "Yeah, I went on a huge rant about it." I'm like, "Wow, do I hate that worse than folks?" So it's not that bad.
Okay.
So this is our 4th film in the series that we're doing, and I gotta. I mean, with the we haven't liked any of them, right? I mean,
well, we did Mortal Kombat. We did the sequel because we've already done the first Mortal Kombat. I would have liked that one.
Right,
and I think you really didn't like Super Mario Brothers.
I don't.
I'm not saying Super Mario is a great movie or a good movie, but I think Russ and I have this appreciation for Mario. So I don't think Mario was as bad for Russ and I as it is.
Right.
And what was the other one we did?
The Tomb Raider.
Lara Croft.
Oh, yeah. Tomb Raider. I did not like Tomb Raider at all.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's safe to say that video game adaptations done into films are historically not good.
Well, I think we talked about that earlier, that it's harder for these older ones that aren't based on, they're just arcade games, essentially, that don't really have very fleshed out stories. The whole point of those games was the gameplay. And that was all you could do. And even that was very limited based on the technology at the time. And nowadays, games are written by novelists and screenwriters, and the latest the Elden Ring series, like Russ said earlier, he played at PAX East. I think he said off recording, like Elden Ring has this bizarre story that's barely even in the game, and yet it's still written by George R.R. Martin. Like these games now have actual writers, and back then you're just, hey, make Pac-Man a game. I mean, Pac-Man was a cartoon show, but it's the same thing. Like, hey, I need a 120-page script on this yellow guy that eats balls and chews on ghosts after he eats the right amount of balls.
You're like, got it.
Jesus, sounds like a sex movie,
right? And that's why the Pac-Man movie has never come out, because that was.
Aren't they pellets? They're pellets, not balls.
Pellets, balls. Pellets are just smaller balls, dude.
Brother, I don't know what you're doing in your nightlife, which is fine. Have at it. You know, love is love. But come on, man.
You know, I count balls for a living.
I got balls flying on my face at my job. All right, Mike. I'm gonna let me pitch you this. Let me pitch you this idea for a Street Fighter movie.
Okay.
You set it after. You don't have. This movie does not have to be part of the lexicon, but let's just set it after the events of a fight of the Street Fighter game, whatever. And they're all, and just focus on one character and, make it a redemption story or a story about revenge, trying to come back from everyone's being destroyed, kill off a lot of your characters, whether it's off screen and you could do like flashbacks, or you can have other movies with them, but like kill off the people that don't matter, keep the main bad guys and the main good guys in the story, but just don't have any, just don't anything that's related to the game should be really subtle, and just focus on creating backstories for all these characters that you've known for all these years. And just, I think if you do it and you do it well, I think people who like the game will appreciate it more, because they're getting a little bit of both. And it's cool to kind of like see those characters in a different light. I don't know if that's ever going to be possible, but I think that would be where I would start. That's probably what they were trying to do with the Chun-Li thing but yeah.
Let's say with the web series, they kind of thought it was better choosing, Ryu and Ken as like the main people rather than Guile, because you have so much more story there with them being friends and training together. You can kind of build that and then have the other characters kind of follow suit, or whatever you do flashbacks.
But get away from the outfits, get away from the looks that you know what I mean? Get away from how they look, how, just for sake of argument, within Marvel Universe, you have Thor, he's got long hair, but then you have a movie, he cuts his hair, he shaves his head, and his hair's cut. And that's what he looks like throughout for the next 6 or 7 films. Just get away from the caricatures that you see in the game, and maybe you can kind of do something there with it. But I know that's a tough ask, and I know that you have to have a lot of people. You have to have a lot of, Capcom included, buy in on that. So I know that's a tough pitch, but that's kind of where I would start. I'm glad that you guys.
Sounds good.
Sorry, I just don't think I don't think Street Fighter is really adaptable for
anything's
like a
adaptable.
film like
Butler.
that.
Anything's adaptable.
I think the way you're talking about it,
Pac-Man animated series went on for a long time. It had a lot of episodes, Mike.
It did. I used to watch it, but now it's this. Now it's spinning off after the what was the show it was in, that Amazon show, and they're spinning it off into its own game.
What, Pac-Man?
Oh, it is. It is.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah. Now I know what you're talking about.
Hardcore rated M Pac-Man game.
I don't even know what that is. I just remember Pac-Man from the movie Pixels, and I just remember Pixels wasn't good.
Russ, what was the name of the show?
I didn't get to see it. They did Mega Man as well. It's like one-offs, video game adaptations.
But Pac-Man's is super dark and just
right. Now they're
terrifying.
coming out with this game that's like, I was like, that's kind of strange. Like it's in dark world and you're traversing. It's like a Metroidvania. And they're like, you have this like sentient robot and it's following you and it looks just like Pac-Man. I'm like, that looks like Pac-Man. And then it like does some other stuff. And I was like, oh, it's supposed to be Pac-Man.
Yeah. Oh, you have to watch that. It's so bizarre, but it's kind of like, it's not bad. It's real. It's good, but it's in the same vein as the Mario movie where it's like, you have to give him credit for taking this really basic idea and being like, but why? Why does Pac-Man?
So Shadow Labyrinth is the name of the game.
Yes.
That's the game. I don't know what the TV show is.
I think the episode is also called Shadow Labyrinth, but I can't remember the name of the series. It's only like, I think 15, 20 minutes, the short.
Secret Level?
Yes, Secret Level.
So check out Secret Level. Yeah, again, they have a Mega Man 1, a Pac-Man 1. Jeez. And also check out the web series for the Street Fighter. You guys won't be disappointed. It's about, I think it's like 2.5 hours or so, but Akuma's in it and he has a great backstory. And I thought the effects were good for it came out like 7 years ago, I think. Maybe even more because it's been re-uploaded. It came out as a web series,
before Mortal Kombat, right? The web series from Mortal Kombat,
web series, possibly.
Mike, I think that's after because the web series is now pretty old for Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, when web series were all the rage.
Yeah, I think the web series for Mortal Kombat did well, and they were like, "Oh, let's keep it going if we can get movie like studio attention."
Yeah,
yeah, I see a trailer posted for 11 years ago. So,
wow. All right. I think that's all we can say about Street Fighter that hasn't been said. Russ, why don't you let everyone know, what you're all about and where they can find you?
Sure. If you guys want to hear more about me, I'm on a podcast called The Weekly Warp Pipe. New episodes every Saturday, 9 a.m. And we dive into retro games, toys, music, fashion, kind of anything, going back and talking about it, reliving it, that nostalgia there. And then you can follow me on YouTube under Russ Lyman. I'm on TikTok and Instagram as well. So plenty of places to find me.
Nice. Butler, hit him.
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or anywhere you get your podcasts. You're watching, looking at us, enjoying us right now, hating what our takes are on Street Fighter. Why don't you go ahead and like, rate, subscribe, comment, tell us everything we got wrong. Why is Street Fighter so good? Why are we so wrong? Or on the other flip side, how bitchin' is Russell's Blu-ray? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you guys, good or bad, your agreements, your takes. We're not right. We're not wrong. We always say that on every episode. Check us there. We have a Patreon if you want more exclusive episodes. We have new episodes every Wednesday of our main show. We talk about forgotten films, and we also do now showings for a bunch of new movies, and we have a lot more coming throughout the summertime because it is summer movie season, so we'll have a lot of now showings for you.
Yep. And then we'll wrap up this from console to screen. Yeah. Screen series. Next week we are doing the 2005 Doom movie with The Rock. I know I saw some of this, but I do not think I ever finished it.
I have never seen this.
Vague recollection of something that happened, and I can't. And you know what? I know I saw this because I hated that they did first person view at points in the movie.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. I'm not a first person guy, Russ. I don't like playing that type of game, so I'm never really into that. That's me.
But don't you love the movie Shoot 'Em Up?
I know it does it too, but Shoot 'Em Up's got, Shoot 'Em Up's good.
We'll get into it next week.
Exactly. So that's next week. We're doing Doom. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And that's Russ Lyman. And this is From Console to Screen. Take care, guys.
I should do the Guile. Or no, his stupid pose at the end.
They all do it. They're matching the pose.
The video game, yeah. But Giles just doesn't make any sense because he's doing like this.
Can you imagine the director? All right, guys, everyone get your pose. Did you guys check it out? Make sure you copy that. And action.